Welcome to all the BCom and BBA students. I am Katyani madam explaining you about the important questions which are going to appear for your final examination in this semesters for the 5th sem as well as for the BPA students first sem. So I request all the students to follow up this and concentrate on this important questions what I am repeating here. I prepared a short as well as the long answers. So first unit, we are talking about the first unit. So here long questions. I made for nearly how many long answers? Only 5 long answers are kept here for your sake. First one is define economics, meaning, nature and scope of the business economics. Next micro and macroeconomics and law of diminishing marginal utility. So 3 main answers you concentrate for the final exams. If you concentrate on these 3 long answers, definitely 2 long answers are going to be there in the question paper. Which 3 I said you? Law of diminishing marginal utility is also 15 marks answer. Okay, business economics, meaning, scope, objectives, role and nature. Next micro and macro. So let me explain business economics once in short. Business economics consists of economic modes and analysis of both the business problems. Business economics is also one of the analysis for formulating the policies which are going to help the managerial economics. According to Alfred Marshall, it is an inquiry into the natures, that is Earth's crust, which are going to help the human being in his day-to-day activities, according to Alfred Marshall, that is. If you see the importance, the nature of business economics, it is micro in nature. Business economics is micro in nature. Why it is micro in nature? Because it is studies about the problems of business firm from small. Microeconomics is also called as a price theory. One of the use of price theory is to analysis how to overcome the problems. Okay, business economics is in pragmatic in nature, in approach. What is the meaning of it? It is an application of economic analysis in decision making. It provides difficult issues of economic theory and involves how to solve it theoretically with the controversies. Business economics is also normative science. Why we are calling it as normative science? Because it is following some norms for the policy making. Rather it is descriptive. In business economics, we try to prescribe policies to business manager. So therefore, it is normative science. It is an art as well as this one economics is also called as a science as well as art. Why? Because it is following scientific methods of observation, reasoning, verification and in analysis business problems and forecasting it also. Business economics is also macro in environment. Business firms operate under macroeconomic environment. The macroeconomic environment relates to national income, business cycles, economic policies of the government in relation to business are important managers. The firm has to adjust itself to uncertainties created by environmental factors. Business firms operate on the basis of economic forecast of national income, price levels and inflation. When you see the scope of business economics, the scope is subject matter which is including demand analysis, forecast in future, cost and production analysis, pricing policies, profit management, capital management. Okay, these 5 topics comes under scope of business economics. What the 5 topics are? Demand analysis, forecasting, cost and production analysis, pricing policies, profit management, capital market. Role of business economics, it is helping for production scheduling, sales forecast, market research. It is advertising the foreign exchange, giving the advices when you do the foreign exchange, foreign trade, environmental forecasting, pricing problems of industry, When you come about microeconomics and the macroeconomics, the term micro and macro are introduced by Renger French of OS University. The word micro means what? Millionth part, and macro is derived from the Greek word. Micros means small, macros means big. Okay, microeconomics is the study of what? It's study of small parts of the economy. It studies the behavior of individual units in the economy, like individual consumer, individual firm, a single industry, and it also deals with small group of individuals. Microeconomics is also called as millionth part. It is also called as a price theory. Why? Because it explains about determination of individual commodities, factors of production. It also studies how individual consumer, firm, industry to attain equilibrium. Next, scope of microeconomics. Microeconomics is a determination of commodities, factors of production, economic welfare, theory, demand theory. Microeconomics is explaining about theory of demand, theory of supply, production cost, rent, wages, interest and profile and profits. Macroeconomics is telling about the aggregate, all the aggregate individuals. It is the theory of output and employment, theory of trade cycles, theory of inflation, theory of economic growth and theory of distribution. Macroeconomics means what? It is a system of it is economic system as a whole. What it studies about? It studies about aggregate and averages of entire economy, for the whole economy, like total employment of the country, national income, national output, total investment, total consumption, saving, supply, demand and general price level. Okay, so it explains about the output, employment, trade cycles, inflation, economic growth, consumption, investment and distribution. Next, if you see diminishing marginal utility, it is using the cardinal utility and the ordinal utility. Cardinal utility means the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as the number increases, what is happening? Satisfaction is also increasing. Ordinal numbers, as the numbers are increasing, satisfaction is decreasing. You don't have the satisfaction in the 100th rank. When you get the first rank, you are very happy. When you get the 100th rank, you are not so happy. So number is big, but the satisfaction is less. That represents the ordinal numbers. Both the numbers, that is cardinal and ordinal, are explained by Alfred Marshall. Law of diminishing marginality is important consumption. It is explained by, starting it was explained by H.H. Gosson. Later on it was continued by Alfred Marshall. The additional benefit which a person derives from a given increase of his stock of thing diminishes with every increase in the stock already exists. So in law of diminishing, what you will actually learn is when you use a particular commodity for a long period of time, you lose the happiness or the extra satisfaction what you are receiving from that commodity. So that is law of diminishing. That is explained in law of diminishing. So in the law of diminishing, how you should write the answer? You should write the answer into segments like introduction, definition, table, graph, explanation of the table and graph, assumptions of law of diminishing, importance of law of diminishing, exceptions. So how you should write the answer is, first you write the introduction or you write the definition of the answer. Okay, you write the assumptions, you draw table and graph. For the table and graph you are going to get 6 marks for the table and the graph. Then you write the importance and exceptions. These are the long answers in the first unit. Short answers, he is going to ask, define economics, what is sales forecasting, micro and macroeconomics, cardinal utility, ordinal utility, marginal utility, complementary goods, substitute goods, law of equimarginal utility and its importance. These are the important short answers or the 4 marks answer in unit 1. Okay, macroeconomics, cardinal, ordinal, marginal utilities, law of equity, marginal utility, and importance of complementary goods and substitute goods. Substitute means you have a choice. Example, you want a soap. Nearly 18 to 20 soaps are available in the market. Means you can go according to the choice. Suppose you want a milled one according to your skin structure. Okay, and you want a perfumed soap, or you want a soap which is going to nourish your skin, moisturize your skin. So in this way you have a choice. According to the choice if you are performing, and alternate is there. In spite of this, you can go for some other commodity that is in the soaps only. That comes under substitutes. Complementary means what? The good, one good is dependent on one more, like car and petrol, your mobile and your recharge, your mobile and net balance available in your recharge in your mobile, like mobile and the charger, okay, power bank. Dependent commodities comes under complementary goods. Cardinal numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ordinal numbers 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Marginal means extra satisfaction. What you are receiving comes under marginal. Micro and macro concepts, there is single firm concepts, and as a whole the country's concept or the income, employment, pricing theory, if you learn that, comes under macroeconomics. These are the short answers in the first unit. Second unit, so second unit I made again law of demand, demand determinants, changes in demand, exceptions to the law of demand. What is the meaning of exception? Which are not accepting the law of demand, which are against the law of demand, comes under exceptions. Law of equi-marginal utility, assumptions, limitations, criticisms. Same way, what is indifference curve? What are its concepts? Definition, properties of indifference curves, the elasticity of demand, okay, concept, kinds of elasticity, measurement of elasticity, factors which are influencing elasticity of demand, importance of elasticity of demand, okay, demand forecasting, meaning, need, importance, methods of the demand. This comes under second unit, very important. So what is demand? Demand is a mixture of three main things. One is desire. You are planning to purchase, willingness to pay, ability to pay. Okay, you are ready to pay or not, and you have the capacity to a particular good or not. Desire, willingness and ability to pay together is called as a demand. What are the determinants of demand? Who are changing the demand? The price of the product, income of the consumer, price of related goods, taste and habits of the consumer. Okay, next types of demand. If you see, price demand, income demand, cross demand. Exceptions. What are exceptions? Missers, drunkards, okay, who are having the habit to collect stamps, coins. These are given law of demand exceptions. So that is law of exceptional cases in law of demand are Giffen goods. Sir Robert Giffen, British, once he observed that if the price of the commodity is increasing, people are purchasing more and more. What is law of demand? If the price being other things constant or keeping other things constant, as the price of the commodity increases, price is increasing. What is going to happen to the demand? The demand is going to decrease. This is law of demand. But Sir Robert observed, okay, in Europe he observed something different. What he observed? That as the price of the meat and bread are increasing, people did not purchase less. They are purchasing more and more of that commodity only. Why? Because it is a basic need for them. In order to survive, they should consume that. So he observed that in market some goods are there which are going to be purchased more even though the prices are increasing of that particular commodity. This type of situations comes under exceptions to the law of demand. You know, prestigious goods. Okay, if you have diamond jewelry, or if you have costly cars, or if you have the property, automatically value in the society, the prestige is going to increase. In order to increase your prestige issues, people purchase branded goods and costly goods, which is also against the law of demand. Same way, speculation. What is speculation? In future, the price of particular commodity is going to increase. You got the information. So what you will do today, if that particular commodity is less in price, means definitely you are going to purchase that commodity and keep it aside. Suppose in future the land price is going to increase, so you may purchase the land here. In future the rice price is going to increase, you may purchase 10 bags of rice and keep it aside. So which are exceptional cases. Okay, law of equimarginal utility. It is explaining about the various commodities which are giving the same satisfaction to you. You are using pen, you are eating food, you are wearing your clothes, you are sleeping. Okay, the whole schedule of yours, how you are reaching the satisfaction from each and every commodity what you are using, is explained through a concept called as law of equimarginal utility. Indifferences curve is also one of the important topic here. There are 3 properties for that indifferences curve. I'll explain you why, because in 4th unit also it is repeated. Same way, when you talk about elasticity of demand, what is elasticity of demand? Responsiveness. It is a response of the people, how they are reacting to your product. So 3 types of elasticities are there: price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand. And again, price elasticity of demand is of 5 types: perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic, unitary elastic demand, relatively elastic, relatively inelastic. 5 types of elasticity of demand. Next, when you talk about measurement, we have 3 methods of measurement of elasticity. That is total outlay method, okay, point method, arc method in elasticities. You should also write the importance of elasticity of demand. Short answers. What type of short answers is going to ask you is, what are the exceptions of demand? Like Giffen goods you can write, Veblen goods you can write, speculation you can write for exceptions of the demand. Determinants, what are influencing the demand? The price, availability, okay, advertisement effect, income of the individual, different types, price, income and cross demand, law of demand. Keeping other things equal, as the price of the commodity increases, the demand for the particular commodity is going to fall. If the price of the commodity is going to fall, the demand is going to increase. Demand schedule, you take one example and show the table there. Elasticity of demand, income, price, demand, okay, Veblen goods, Giffen goods. These are very, very important short answers in 2nd unit. When you come for 3rd unit, you concentrate on 3 answers, that is law of supply, factors influencing supply, exceptions and determinants, consumer equilibrium, and explain its diagram and market equilibrium, isoquants, indifferences curves, definition, general properties of indifferences curves. These are important topics in 3rd unit. What are the important topics in 3rd unit is supply. What is supply? The supply of the commodity is going to be different at different markets. Okay, it is expressed in mathematically. So what is telling, when other things equal, as the price of the commodity increases, supply also increases. As the price of the commodity decreases, supply also decreases. So who is happy in the supply curve? Producer or the seller is very, very happy. Other things being equal, the supply of the commodity extends with the rise in price and contract with the fall in price. So supply function, who are the determinants of price of the commodity? Price of related goods, factors, state of technology, goals of the producer are some determinants of supply. Exceptional cases are also there, determinants are also there for supply. Consumer equilibrium, some goods are there in the market, or some particular point is there where consumer and producer both are satisfied, means demand and supply are equal, that particular state or that particular condition is called as consumer equilibrium. Okay, so consumer surplus. What is consumer surplus? Who defined this? It was defined by French engineer economist A.J. Dupuit in 1844. Okay, Alfred Marshall continued later on by principles of economics. So some goods are there in the market which are paid very less, but the satisfaction you are going to reach from that commodities is very, very high. Example, you take a newspaper. Hardly you spend 5 rupees on that newspaper, but you gather the whole nation's information. The local information, the state-wise, the price of the commodities, the advertisements, the movies which are going on, what are the around, your surrounding news, local news, national and international, where the jobs are available, what type of situation is going on in the market, everything you are going to gain a knowledge by the newspaper, which is only 5 rupees. Same way you can take the matchbox. Hardly you spend 1 rupee, but you may use that matchbox for 40 times or 25 times the usage, 1 rupee. So extra you are paying more, you are paying very less than the consumption or the satisfaction of that commodity. That topic relates to consumer surplus. Next, iso-quant differences. What is indifference curve? Indifference curve is a group, okay, of lines which is explaining about the satisfaction of the individual, which is graphed, which is shown in the form of a diagram. This is explained by J.R. Hicks and R.G.D. Allen first time. They propound indifferences curves. Who explained? J.R. Hicks and R.G.D. Allen. Okay. Value and capital, it is also called as. We have explanation for this. We should take the example of two commodities, that is X and Y. Then only we can explain this indifferences curve. We have 3 properties for indifferences curve. So what is the definition of the indifferences curve? All the combinations of the commodities which are linked with each other and which are pointed on a graph. We have 3 properties. One is higher indifference curve, the higher level of satisfaction. Indifferences curves are negatively sloped. Indifferences curves are convex to the origin and they never meet each other. Short answers, what you can expect in this third unit is consumer surplus, law of supply, supply function, consumer equilibrium, supply function, marginal rate of substitution and indifferences curves. When you come for fourth unit, what is meant by returns to scale? Explain the law of returns to scale. Explain the law of variable proportions with suitable diagram. Explain the law of returns to scale. Explain internal and external economies of scale. What is iso-quant and what are its properties are the very important long answers in fourth unit. Law of variable proportions, it explains about when the employee structure are increasing. The law of variable proportion explains about the behavior of production function in short run. In short run, some factors of production or inputs are fixed. So actually we have 4 factors: land, labor, capital and organization. Out of these 4 factors, you are changing one factor and doing the production, means it comes under short run. Okay, definition: as a proportion of one factor in a combination of the factors is increased. After a point, the marginal and the average product of that factors will diminish. So it is also having the assumptions explanation. So this answer also, how you write is, you write first, you write the definition, you write the assumptions, table and a graph, explanation and importance. Divide the answer in this way, make the answer attractive. Okay, law of returns to scale, you have 2 types of returns to scale, internal and external. Internal, you have nearly 5 to 6 types of internal economies, and external economies, you can write 3 external economies, and iso-quants also, like indifferences curves and what are its properties. When you come for short answer, what is production? What is production function? Isoquant, isocost line, internal economies, external economies. What is the meaning of returns to scale? The law of variable proportions explains about the returns to scale. So mainly the depth meaning in returns to scale is returns. What are the profits? What are the gains you are getting when you invest in an organization? The production, that is scale, that is the amount. Internal economies, inside the organizations, what are the factors you should keep in mind? What are coming under internal economies? Managerial, okay, financial, risk bearing, technical, managerial, marketing, financial, risk bearing. Okay, next technical economies comes under internal economies. When you come for external economies, what are asked in the external economies? Economies of concentration, economies of information, economies of specialization, and economies of welfare. Fifth unit is very this one, these are intermediate topics, that is perfect competition. What are the properties of perfect competition? Monopoly, properties, types, price discrimination under monopoly, monopolistic competition, price and output under oligopoly market, price discrimination meaning, break even point. So first what I request in the fifth unit is, please all the students mainly concentrate on perfect competition, okay, oligopoly, break even point. First you cover these three long answers. After learning these three answers, then you go for monopolistic competition. So what I request you is, in the long answers you concentrate on four. What are the four long answers? Perfect competition and properties, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and break-even point. These four are enough for you for long in your exams. Okay. Next, when you come for short answers, total, average, marginal revenue, real cost. Real cost means what? The cost what actually the hard work which cannot be mentioned, which is done by an employee. Employee, if you assign a work with the interest they do, the people, they do much hard work, or they use their skills on the particular product and they make an efficient product which cannot be measured. Okay, so for that what we are paying in return is very less. That measurement of the hard work of the individual comes under real cost. Explicit cost, implicit cost, fixed cost, the cost which is kept on the machinery, variable cost on the day-to-day expenses like petrol, diesel, electricity expenses, to and fro expenses, break-even point. How many number of units can be manufactured when you invest so many lakhs of rupees can be calculated. Whether you are on a profit or whether the company is earning profits or losses, or no profits or no losses, can be measured by break-even point. What is total fixed cost? What is total average cost? Opportunity cost. In a given land, how best alternatively you can use and earn huge profits on that particular land or a particular product. The best product you can manufacture by using the four factors, and you can earn huge profits. That comes under opportunity cost. Monopoly, oligopoly, monopolistic competition, price discrimination, dumping, kinged demand curve, and price rigidity. Price rigidity is you are fixed to a particular price even though there is a huge competition in the market. Kinged demand curve is explained by Paul Sweezy. This kinged demand curve is having two segments. One is elastic segment and one is inelastic segment. Kinged demand curve I am telling you. Okay, this is elastic segment, this is inelastic segment. This particular point is called as point K, which is called as a kinged point. This is y-axis, this is x-axis. Okay, kinged demand curve will be in this way. Okay, so this particular point is called as K kinged point, where the upper segment is called as elastic, the down segment is called as a inelastic. That is explained by Paul Sweezy. Next, dumping. What is meaning of dumping? Dumping means a producer charging high prices in domestic market and less prices in international market. Means because you are a monopolist in the country, there is a demand for your product and you follow a particular brand and good quality, so people are addicted to your particular product, so people may purchase at high prices also for your product. Competition is less in the domestic market, whereas when you go to the same product in the foreign market, that is the international market, many countries are there which produce the same type of product. So there is a good competition, because in order to overcome that competition, you are selling the goods at less price. That comes under dumping. Dumping was explained by George Stigler. Kinged demand curve is explained by whom? Kinged demand curve is explained by Paul Sweezy. Price rigidity is also explained by Paul Sweezy, whereas dumping is explained by George Stigler. And price discrimination. For the same product, you have various prices in different markets. In commercial markets, in underdeveloped markets, in the rural markets, the quality may be varied, the price also varies, which comes under price discrimination. Example you can take, a carpenter may charge 1500 rupees for one customer for making a table, and for 800 rupees only for one more customer who is demanding the table. It depends upon the person's bargaining nature or person's affordability. Price discrimination. So monopoly, single seller. Oligopoly, few sellers. Monopolistic competition, many sellers for the particular product. This comes under opportunity. This one, monopoly, oligopoly and monopolistic competition. These are the short answers what you should concentrate. So here I prepared short answers for 5th unit as well as long answers. Same way short answers for 4th unit and long answers for 4th unit. 3rd unit short answers, 3rd unit long answers, 4th unit short answers, 2nd unit short answers and long unit. First unit short and long. First unit is introduction, second unit is demand and supply, third unit is supply analysis, fourth unit is production analysis, and fifth unit is cost and revenue analysis. Thank you, students.